Hi again. Apparently there was a young lady who goes by the name of Alice who fell down a rabbit hole, like you do, and she found herself landed in somewhere called Wonderland. And as she's wandering around Wonderland looking for a way out, Alice found herself standing at a crossroads. And because she didn't know which way to go, she did what we'd all do. She asked the cat for directions. And the clever cat replied, "It depends on where you're heading." And Alice said, "Well, I'm not really sure where I'm heading." And the clever cat said, "Well, it doesn't really matter which road you take then, does it?" How many times in life and business have you found yourself standing at a crossroads, not really knowing which way to go? Stuck in procrastination and delaying making decisions because you don't know which is the right path for you to take. But here's the thing. Knowing which path to take is easy when you're clear on your direction, on where you're heading. And that's why having clear written goals is so essential to your success in every aspect of life and business. Because setting goals gives you a starting point, a crystal clear understanding of the right path to take when you're travelling the road to your destination, as well as a believable vision and a sense of knowing where you're going to end up. But how do you do it? How do you do this thing called goal setting? Well, firstly, a goal needs to give you a clear direction, so that whenever you find yourself, like Alice, standing at a crossroads, you'll know, just which you will do, by the way, just about every second of the day, you'll be able to make an instant decision and move forward because our brains are hardwired to respond to the goals that we set. What happens is when we set goals, we set filters in our brain to notice consciously things that are relevant for us to achieve the goal. And they filter out the things that are irrelevant. Now, important note here, a really important point, is that why it's not important to know how you're going to achieve a goal. Because as you take small steps towards your goal, your brain will filters and it will present you with the hows. And you can think of those filters being a bit like Google. Now, for a second, imagine that Google was the only way that you experience the world. And if you type the word fear into the search engine, you'll be given lots of articles about fear. You might even think that fear is all there is in the world. But if you typed in the word, say, love, you'd think that all there was in the world was love. And so as you went through, your brain would then experience, make examples of love more relevant to you. And this would reinforce your filtering or your confirmation bias for love. And you would see, hear and feel more love. Now, your filters are always an action. They're set by you. And one way you can set those filters is by setting goals. And for your goal to be highly charged and touch you at an emotional level, and for it to put your filters into action, there are ways of setting goals that make your chance of achievement so much easier. And in the world of goal setting, we're told to set SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-framed. However, there are parts of that framework that just don't work for me. Who's to say what's achievable and what's realistic? Realistic and achievable. Tell Elon Musk what's realistic and achievable. Now, a client of mine had a business that was turning over about £4 million, and over a couple of years of us working together, he got that up to 6 million. Now, getting to 6 million had taken him 5 years. So when he started a new business with a goal of hitting 10 million in its first year, based on history, that's probably not realistic or achievable. But he smashed it. He did 12 million. And in less than a decade, he's now budgeted to turn over 200 million. So who's going to tell him what's achievable and what's realistic? The challenge is, if we set achievable goals, we could end up setting ourselves up for mediocrity. And you know that, sadly, that's a pretty busy place. And when my client started his business, he was in a really busy marketplace, thousands of competitors. Now, because he's set unreasonable goals, he's got about a dozen competitors. It's a less crowded environment when you set for yourself unreasonable goals. So I suggest we get rid of achievable and realistic. Replace achievable with action orientated. What steps are you going to take to achieve the goal? And change realistic to relevant. Is it relevant to you? Or is it someone else's goal? Is it a should goal? You know, we should have a sports car, 2.3 kids, big house. There's nothing wrong with those goals if they turn you on, but for some, they are should goals. You should do this, you should do that. And that can be one heck of a turn off. So, now SMART becomes specific, measurable, action orientated, relevant and time framed. But to me, there's still something missing. And I remember once when I started working with a new client, I asked him to do me a list of his goals. What he gave me was more a list of tasks than goals. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, all he needed to do was get up with his arse and do it. And arse got me thinking in terms of an acronym. And how could you put SMART goals on steroids? And I discovered that you can by adding A for accountability, have someone hold you accountable. Add R for rewarding. How can you reward yourself for achieving the goal, or reward yourself for taking action towards the goal? Add S for shared. So now you're putting your accountability on steroids. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a Just Giving page. I found when I had one that it gave me motivation in those moments of doubt and when I wasn't feeling motivated, because it tapped into my not wanting to let other people down or let my sponsors down. They gave me accountability to my goal. And finally, E for ecological. How does this goal fit into the bigger picture? So, for instance, the sales department might be capable of doing all the sales, but can the marketing department generate enough leads? Can the ops department continue to produce the product on time to the right standards? How does the goal fit into the bigger picture? Right then, so to recap, when goal setting, make sure your goals are specific, measurable, action orientated, relevant and time framed. And to put them on steroids, add accountability, rewarding, shared and ecological. Moral of the story, if you're not achieving your goals, maybe it's time to become a smart ass. It only works, so give it a go. Take this from theory to practice to mastery, because you will thank me later. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.